You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, effective from yesterday, Wednesday, the 18th of September, the Central Bank of Nigeria commenced increased charges on bank deposits in addition to already existing charges on withdrawals. Now, according to the Apex Bank, withdrawals will attract 3% processing fees, while deposits will attract 2% processing fees for amounts above 500,000 naira. This is for individual accounts. Now, corporate accounts will attract 5% processing fees for withdrawals and 3% processing fee for deposits of amounts above 3 million naira. As CBN says, the charges on deposits shall apply in Lagos, Ogun, Kano, Abia, Anambra and Rivers State, as well as the Federal Capital Territory. Now, we have joining me now a financial analyst, Nemeka Obiareri, to give us an understanding of this. Nemeka, it's good to have you join me right now. Good morning. Now, make us understand. Someone would say since 2011 that the Central Bank of Nigeria started the implementation or introduced the cashless policy. This is not necessarily something different, but what is unique about this new policy now?
Mike, there is nothing unique about the new policy. Building a cashless society is very, very good in terms of helping the Central Bank of Nigeria. Their monetary policy works, because here in Nigeria we discover that the informal sector is actually higher than the formal sector. Financial inclusion here is very, very low compared to South Africa and Kenya. But the challenge we have here is not just, it's a very good program. It's a very good policy that has been in the works since 2011. But the major challenge here is the issue of infrastructure and facility deficit. Most Nigerians actually would love to do their operations without carrying cash. Cost of carrying cash is very expensive, both for the banking sector and the individual, the risk and everything. But the major challenge here in Nigeria is the issue of low infrastructure, low payment facilities that can aid the implementation of this cashless policy.
All right, Nemeka, when you talk about the infrastructure, what infrastructures will make this policy work better?
Mike, the issue of power.
Okay.
Inefficient power system, inefficient payment system. I'll give you an example. The man that wants to travel from Kafanchan to go to Aba to go and do his purchases may decide, okay, I don't want to carry cash. I'll rely on my payment system. I'll rely on the POS. I'll rely on the efficiency of the banks that I bank with. And the guy gets to the shoe trader in Aba, makes a purchase of 2 million and decided to pay with his POS, and now experiences system failure. His account is debited, but it is never, and you will see decline, and the money never gets to the recipient's account. I bet you the man that is selling the shoe in Aba will not release his goods. And most times it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 days, even up to 1 week, for the banks to do the reversal. Right. Do you expect the man that is coming from Kafanchan or from Ogbomosho to go to Aba to buy his shoe, to wait in Aba for 1 week for the bank to rectify their system? That is the challenge that we're talking about here.
Okay. All right. Now we're looking at the date has been set in March 2020 to commence the full implementation of the cashless policy. From that point on, what is going to be different from what we have right now?
Mike, even back to that, I do not understand the rationale. Some people have criticized this policy of staggered implementation. What criteria led to selection of 4 states in the south and only Kano? Why don't they put in place the right infrastructure, make sure that the payment system is working holistically, and then do a blanket implementation? Why do they like doing selective implementations of issues like this? And Mike, I can bet you, by March 2020, the system failures, the infrastructure and facility inefficiencies will not yet be in place. And Mike, just also remember that we are also talking about financial inclusion. What percentage of Nigerian population, adult working population, have accounts with banks, either deposit money banks or microfinance banks? As at the last time I checked, it's estimated that we have over 46 million accounts. Of course, if you look at those 46 million accounts, most of them are multiple accounts. Somebody like you, Mike, may have 10 accounts. And those accounts are counted as 10 different accounts, where it belongs to one person. In the real sense of it, we may not have up to 20 million Nigerians captured in the banking system. The informal system is so huge. It will be good for us to bring the informal system for the ease of and efficiency of monetary policy management.
All right,
but
Nnameka,
the right things must be done.
Yes, Nnameka, so much to talk about as far as this is concerned. But I know as time goes on, we're still going to hear from you and then get more insight.
This policy was suspended in 2014. Two questions in one. Some have said that why are we revisiting this policy now? And for others, this policy is more of penalties driven instead of incentives driven. How will this aid financial inclusion?
Exactly. That is my sentiment too. The penalty is actually penal driven rather than incentivizing to make it work. Like I said, the major challenge we have towards this executing this policy in a way that will be profitable to the economy is the issue of the large segment of the large population of the unbanked segment in Nigeria. Currently, like I mentioned earlier, we are over 60% of our adult working population are unbanked. Our informal sector is far higher than the formal sector. And again, we also have the tiered inefficiencies in the finance and infrastructure. We support this cashless policy. I gave an illustration earlier on. You see, the major challenge we have here is that we normally run with policy without first of all thinking through the cons, the pros, the benefits, and disadvantages. For monetary policy management measure, it would be good for us to have at least a large segment of our society in the formal banking sector. It's very, very important in policy formulation. It is very, very important in government plan and all those stuff. But the right things must be done right. And also, this issue of segmented implementation is not right. Somebody raised an issue. Why do we always, when we want to do things that has penal consequences, we start from the south. When we want to do things that have infrastructure benefits, we start from other parts of Nigeria. It is not right. If we put in place the right frameworks, make sure that our payment system is working efficiently and drive financial inclusion. You can only drive financial inclusion through incentives, trying to explain and educate people why they should be in the formal sector. That is what we should be doing. I can tell you, by March 31st, 2020, when we are supposed to have full blanket implementation across the nation, we will still continue to have serious issues, especially payment system failures. We've had instances.
All right, so now, how do you envisage, or what would you give as an advice to make this work properly, and how much impact would it have on corporates and even commercial banks who are sourcing for customers?
To be honest with you, the era of brick and mortar banking, or brick and mortar financial is gone. We should try and see how we can deepen our payment system, especially the e-platform, to make them work efficiently. For example, I make payment to the POS system and it declines or it fails. Why must it take my bankers 48 hours, 72 hours, 1 week, even 1 month to reverse it? We must try and improve our infrastructure, our payment system in such a way that if there are such declines, it can be reversed within minutes or within hours. In such a way, it will give confidence to the users of those channels that if, for example, I'm going from a promotion to about to make purchases and the payment system fails, within 1 hour, within 2 hours, it can be rectified to enable me do my purchases and go back to my base. And number two, we must incentivize and drive financial inclusion. The deposit money banks cannot do it alone. We can use I am still surprised that the 4 telecommunication companies we have in Nigeria have not also seen it wise to drive payment system to the telecommunication platform. Go to
All
Kenya.
right, Nnameka Obiareri, we have to leave it at this point. So much to talk about on this issue, but thank you so much for your contribution on TVC Breakfast.
Welcome.